Hey everyone, this is Jamie for RC Logger, and today I want to welcome you as we give you this tutorial guide, which is a walkthrough of how to perform a firmware update on your R8 transmitter. Now, many of you have the R8 transmitter as a part of the Ready to Fly package for the NovaX 350, and we're excited about this firmware update as it gives us a second telemetry page to look at. And so this is a great new feature and enhancement for that NovaX package. And so before we get into the firmware update, I want to go over what this new page entails and show you what the data is there. So let's go ahead and let's look at it together. As you know, when you're on your home page, then you can press the up button. It gives you the original first page of telemetry. But now if you press the up button again, then you get a second page. And so let's look at it here together. The first line is your heading direction. And we've added this, and it's based off the original takeoff location. Then no matter where you go, you can always use this coordinates of being able to know the direction that your unit is facing. So it's really helpful. Say you get really far out and you're not sure of the orientation of your craft, then you can use this to understand the orientation of your craft, and then also to get it back home safely if you're wanting to fly and not use a feature such as return to home. The second line here is your max speed. And this is something we've really been enjoying using, and for you speed nuts out there you're going to enjoy this. And essentially it records the max speed of your flight. And so it's something you can keep an eye on while you're flying, just to see how well you're doing, or at the end of your flight, like I've been doing a lot of times, is just going and looking to see what that max speed was, and I've really been enjoying that. The next line is your longitude and latitude, and this alternates between these two coordinates. And this can be really helpful for you to know where your craft is at. Say you get into an emergency situation and you have to land it unexpectedly, and let's say it's in an area that's not very visible or an area that has low visibility, then you can use this to be able to help quickly locate your NovaX 350. The next line is your satellites, and it just gives you how many satellites that you're locked into and gives you that data that you need. And then the last line is your TPCS, or Task Point Command System, and this is in preparation for version 2.0 that we're fixing to release. And so when you set up those task point commands, then this will actually give you data for that as well. So it will tell you which step it's on and what it's going to do next. And so this is a great feature as well. And so we're excited about that. Now that we've discussed what the second telemetry page entails, let's get into how to put this new firmware on your unit. And something I do want to say right before we get into that as well is you will need version 1.5 on your unit, version 1.5 or newer on your NovaX 350 for that second telemetry page and for that to function. So let's get into it together then, and let's do this installation. So we're going to need three things in order to perform the firmware update. The first thing that we're going to need is a Windows OS based computer. This can be Windows XP to Windows 10. The process will be the same or very similar for each one. The second thing we're going to need is our R8 transmitter. And then the last thing that we're going to need is the supplied USB cable that came with the R8 transmitter. This is a specialty USB as it has the right connector to plug into the back of the R8, and then also has the necessary drivers on the USB side of it. So now we have those things and we're ready to perform this update. It's pretty straightforward and pretty simple, so let's walk through it together. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our website, and here I want to show you how to find the download that you're going to need. Now we've also included the download link down in the description below, but I want to show you how to do this here for future reference, because this is for all of our products, so you can access any downloads that you need for the future. There's two ways of accessing it. The first way is you can look at the support section, and there's a download section here, and if you click on this, then you can actually choose which type of download you're looking for. So if we click on firmware here, because this is a firmware update, then we'll see it's actually found right here, as it's the latest release that we are releasing from RC Logger. And so you can find it there. The other way to access it is you can go to the description page of the product itself. So we're going to click on NovaX 350, and we have kind of an advertising page here. As we scroll down through it, that gives you all the different features of the NovaX 350. But if we'll scroll down to the bottom here and go to Tell Me More, it brings us to our description pages of the products. We want to go to Ready to Fly, as that's what includes the R8. and here we want to go to the download section. Now here you'll find what we are after, and you'll also find any other download that is connected to the NovaX 350 Ready to Fly package. You can also find it on the R8 page itself, and then also on our TX-RX set of the R8 and the RR8, you can find it there as well. But this is what we're looking for, is RC Logger R8 Radio System Upgrade Pack 1.1.1. So let's click on that, and it will begin downloading. Now, once it's done downloading, you might get a message, something similar to this, that says that it's a not commonly downloaded and could be dangerous. This is a safe file, so make sure that you go ahead and keep it. Nothing to worry about. And now it's done. You could unzip it from here. What I'm going to do is go ahead and close out, and I'm just going to go to my download section where it's located. And there you see it. So what I'm going to do now is unzip it. I'm going to click this, and then here you'll see the pack right here. You'll need to click on this, and then you will get a notification about needing to extract it because of it being a zipped file. So let's go ahead and extract all. You can choose the location, but I'm just going to keep it where it's at to keep it simple. And I'm going to hit extract, and there you go. You're done. Now we have the R8 radio system upgrade pack right there. I'm going to go ahead and drag it to my desktop just so that it's easy access when I come back to actually perform the upgrade on the transmitter. But there it is, and we're good to go. Now let's go over to the radio and show how to perform the correct connection in order to come back and perform the firmware update. Alright, so now that we've got the firmware onto our computer, then the next step to the process is getting our R8 transmitter connected to our computer. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to lift up our transmitter and go to the back side, and there you'll see there's a port, and we're going to plug the cable that was provided with your transmitter into the port. It can only go in one way, so make sure that you have it facing the right way, and just make sure you push it all the way in, and that first step is now complete. So now that we have the cable plugged into the back of the transmitter, the next step is to get into the mode that we need in order to do the firmware update. So first thing we want to do is we want to power on our transmitter. We're going to wait to go to the load stage. And now that we're on the main home screen, next thing we want to do is we want to hold down the OK button here. And that will take us into our menu, system, and setup. And we're going to go into the system, so we want to hit OK. And then here you can see we've got a lot of different things for the system. So we're going to scroll all the way down towards the bottom of the menu until we see firmware version and firmware update. Now you can check here your firmware version if you want to know which version you have on here. Here is where we want to be to do the firmware update. All we want to do is hit OK here now. And here it just gives us a warning. It says this will enter the firmware update mode, and basically it will make no functions work, so it just wants to make sure you're ready to proceed with that. So we're going to hit OK again. And then we need to hit the up button to go to the yes, and then we're going to hit OK again. And we are now in the mode that we need to be in, so our next step is going to be plugging the USB cable into the computer. So we're still in that menu, and all we're going to do now is plug in our USB into our computer. That will let you know that it's connected and we're ready to go now into our computer and perform the firmware update. So we're back to our computer screen, and now we're just going to update the firmware via the software. So one thing that I want to note is it needs to know the COM port. It should find it for you, but in case it doesn't, then you'll need to know that, and I'm going to show you how to find that. Now be reminded that I'm on Windows 10. I'm going to go to Control Panel. So it might be a different way of finding it based on which version of Windows you have. I'm going to go to System and Security, and I'm going to go to Hardware and Sound. This is essentially what you're looking for on your computer, is the Device Manager. And then we're going to scroll down, we're going to go to the Ports section, we're going to expand that. And here you can see one titled Silicon Labs USB. This is the one we're looking for, and we want to know this number here, COM3. So I just want to show you how to find that. In case it doesn't find it on your computer, you can make sure you have the right number put in there. So now we're going to open the software. As you can see from mine, it already has it, COM, and then it has the 3. So I'm going to hit Start Upgrade, and you have the status bar here at the bottom. And at the end of this, then it should give us that it was successful. There we go, update was successful. So now we are complete. You can eject that if you want. Let's go back to our transmitter, and let me show you just the last few things, and let's finish this up. Alright, so your firmware update is complete. The last thing that you're going to need to do in order to complete the firmware update process is just unplug the cable from the port on the back of your transmitter, and then you're going to need to turn the unit off and turn it back on. Now, something I do want to mention that is extremely important is anytime you do a new firmware update on your transmitter, then you're going to need to reperform a binding between your receiver and your transmitter. So make sure you do that. If you have a NovaX 350 that you're using with this, then you'll find that in the user manual, and you'll find the instructions on how to do that rebind procedure. Once you've done that, you should be good to go and fly with the newest and greatest firmware that has some great new features. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, visit us at rclogger.com.